So, is it okay if I record this?
Sure, go ahead.
Cool, thank you. So, I know that we wanted to talk about Arkham Origins, so, tell me what you like about it, or why you think it, doesn't have problems, or why you think it's a good game.
Um, talking gameplay or story or both?
Either one works for now. We can talk about, story I have like a lot of notes, so gameplay would be much faster.
Alright, gameplay. I admit that the gameplay is a bit uninspired. It's a bit kind of like Arkham City, like redone, but I do like the shock gloves. I think that's kind of fun to use. I do think that the PS3 version is complete garbage, but other than that, I think the gameplay, despite the fact that again it's just a retry of Arkham City, I think it's pretty good.
Okay, so there are a main issue, that being the stuff that they do add in sometimes are good, like the martial artist. I thought those guys were pretty good, but other
You
than
like
that,
that?
what?
I'm just saying, I really like the martial artist. I think that's a really good enemy.
Yeah, I think those are really good enemy types. I'm sad they didn't bring it back in Arkham Knight. But the main issue being is something that you mentioned is the shot gloves. The shot gloves and the Batclaw are very problematic because the Batclaw literally just gives you 3 enemies you can take down if you upgrade it to 3 enemies you can take down near instantly. And that's like, and sometimes most of the enemies in like one area can be like up to 6, so if you get rid of 3 of them, that would knock you down to half the amount that you dealt with, all just by them just slightly being near a gargoyle. And then there's also the issue of the shot gloves. I guess I can understand why people enjoy it, but the issue with the shot gloves is that it literally takes every bit of the Arkham system and just kind of throws it out the window, because you don't have to worry about like going past shields, because you do that. You don't have to worry about going around the taser things, the little taser batons. You can just punch right through that. You don't have to worry about body armor.
I'd say that you could say the same thing for like bats in Arkham Knight, because you know how in Arkham Knight you can pick up like bats that enemies drop.
Yeah, I don't think that
Yeah.
that's good either,
When you,
but
when you when you hold those, you can beat the shit out of like brutes and dudes with shields and whatnot and taser guns.
yeah, but the difference is that bats, like, you're less rare to come across them. You don't come across them like all the time. And besides the shock gloves in Arkham Origins, you can build charge really, really fast. Especially if there's quite a few enemy types, you can build up charge so quickly. And that's kind of the issue, is that you can use that not only frequently, but it completely dominates everybody that is like in that area. The enemy that's even close, if not nearly just touches the ground, gets incinerated by Batman shock gloves.
Yeah. And it is kind of dumb how Batman has his grappling gun when that literally is an invention in City.
Well, yeah, not his, like, wait.
Oh no! His traversal thing, his grapple
Oh,
boost.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense to me, how he's able to, jump, like, twice the size and stuff, even though he doesn't have it. It's, oh. Sorry, it kicked me out. But, I was saying, yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't make much
Okay.
sense. So,
Sorry, 1 second. Okay. I keep going.
yeah, but I was just saying that there also, so we have the shock gloves, we have the Batclaw, that's an issue, and the other main one that was added are the boss fights. A lot of people really, really, really like the boss fights in Arkham Origins. The problem is that the boss fights in Arkham Origins aren't that good. A lot of people just say Deathstroke and then they'll like blank out when it comes to like the rest of the boss fights, because if you go over the boss fights with a tooth and comb, they're not that good other than like Deathstroke, right? The only one that I'd say is like really above average was the third fight with Bane. That one was pretty good. But other than that, the fights are really generic, and mostly this isn't specifically Arkham Origins' fault. It's the way that the Arkham system is built isn't built for boss fights. They're meant for dealing with multiple enemy types. They're not meant for dealing like one-on-one hand-to-hand combat. So a lot of them, Copperhead's really bad. Firefly's absolutely atrocious. Killer Croc is pretty normal. And the Bane 1 and 2 fighter, fine, you know.
Yeah, I can see that, but I really like the Deathstroke boss fight. I will agree on that with most people on that, just because I like how you kind of like almost have to kind of like you almost treat him like an actual thug, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do like the how in the Copperhead fight you have to like find like a cure, and you get to see like Batman like hallucinating, like it's almost like a precursor to Scarecrow.
Kind of,
I do
yeah.
think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that that's neat, but I like the way that they just had Copperhead just like, oh, fight with just more Copperheads, great, and then dodge occasionally. So
That
those
was
are
lame, I agree.
yeah, and that's
The Firefly boss was terrible too. I can agree on that.
and that leaves like only a few boss fights left, because then that's not even counting like Lady Shiva. The the Deadshot fight for the side missions is okay. It's not great. What were the other than like Killer Croc? Really having a tough time thinking. There's not that many bosses for a game that's centered around multiple assassins. Oh yeah, of course the top tier Electrocutioner fight. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my issues with the gameplay. It's really either A, just uninspired and kind of lazy, and then it also kind of destroys the system. Again, I don't know where this perception comes of this idea that, hold on, I gotta fix something. Anyway, I don't know what the perception is that leads people to believe that Arkham Origins has the best boss fights. Especially when we compare it to Asylum, which got really creative, and City actually had the most creative boss fights. I know a lot of people mention Mr. Freeze, but a personal favorite of mine is Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul's
Boss fight.
yeah, it's really great. And there's like a lot of mind stuff. There's a lot of trippiness. There's a lot of like interesting like combat skills that you use throughout it. It's a really great fight. And Clayface isn't half bad either. But I'm just really wondering why people in particular think that Arkham Origins has the best boss fights.
I think it's mostly the Deathstroke boss fight, to tell the truth.
Yeah, it's like everybody just like forgot about the Killer Croc fight, went to play the Deathstroke fight, and then stopped playing the game after that. And then they're like, "Yep, it has a great bosses. It's super great," and it's kind of frustrating to me because it really isn't. Like, I don't know. It's not like it doesn't have the worst boss fights in the series. Arkham Knight, sadly, even though I still like the game, has issues with its boss fights, but mostly because they aren't really technically bosses. But
Yeah, they're well programmed, but they are a little bit kind of lame, to be honest. It's just kind of like tank battle, tank battle, tank battle, tank battle.
Yeah, especially with Arkham Knight and the Deathstroke fight, sadly. But other than that, I don't. Arkham Knight is mostly the lack of villains as the problem. But anyway, so you want to jump into story?
Sure.
So I have like a whole laundry list here of issues that come with this story. So one of the first ones is the disappearing helicopters. Have I told you about that one?
You kind of touched on it in debates, but if you could share your screen and show what scene you're talking about, I'd appreciate that.
Okay, I can show it to you. Hold on.
722, you said, right?
Yeah, so it's as soon as basically the helicopters get shot down, then Bane's helicopter appears. In the very next shot, you see two helicopters pulling up, and then try and see if you could find Bane's helicopter in that shot. But
I can't find it.
yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think the issue is that they edited the scene out of order, and it essentially has the issue of I believe they were trying to show the two helicopters coming in first, then they had them shot down, then Bane's helicopter shot up, but they accidentally reversed the order and made the two helicopters appear afterwards. So that was just something that I noticed upon going over these. So it's just something funny, I thought, and something worth pointing out.
Alright.
Yeah, then we have one of the bigger issues with the story. One of the issues is Batman being active for 2 years. This doesn't make any sense to me, like at all. Multiple times in the in the game, we are hinted at the fact, or it tells us basically that the Batman is a myth, right? Nobody knows who the Batman is. We don't even have recorded footage of him, as Vicky Vale says on the helicopter, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Number one, Batman has been Batman for 2 years, as later explained by Joker. So how has Batman been doing this for 2 years and everybody still thinks he's a myth? It doesn't make any sense because the actions that he takes in this story is very upfront. By the way, most of his tactics are confronting various many things head on. There is no way that Batman could be covered up as a myth. And I also don't believe in the 21st century that this game still takes place in, the fact that somebody could just whip out their iPhone and get footage of him. But we even see footage of him in Bane's hideout, where he shows a little bit of Batman, which I don't know where that's from, because apparently there's supposed to be quote-unquote no recorded footage of him. So in general, Batman being Batman for 2 years doesn't make any sense. And also the fact that in the prison riot, the prisoners actually mentioned Batman. There's like, hey, that's the guy that broke my arm. Again, how is Batman a myth when criminals even know him by name, you know? That's
And
like a huge issue.
that's actually really bad.
Yeah. It kind of
Like,
shows...
my only real defense to that, maybe like maybe, and the prisoners thing I can't defend, but maybe like the whole news thing, maybe like they like covered up or something with the police, but that's about it. That's terrible.
Yeah. So there's that. There's also the fact of... Now, actually, I wanted to get your opinion on this before I jump into this. Is Joker being Black Mask, to me, isn't a quote-unquote problem in a way that a lot of other people think. A lot of other people find it to be a problem because, oh, I thought we were going to fight Black Mask, instead we got Joker, you know. I'm not upset about that part. The part that doesn't make sense to me is, why is Joker being Black Mask?
Well, first of all, to answer the first part of your question, I've never been bothered by Joker being Black Mask, and I don't personally understand where people come from when they get upset over Joker being in Origins and Night. I understand that they thought that city, like killing him off, was perfect for it was like a perfect ending to the relationship, blah 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 blah. But he's Batman's arch nemesis. What's the? I don't just like people are acting like it's the worst part about these two games.
Yeah.
That has always kind of annoyed me, but I don't know how it affects the narrative.
Yeah. I just like... I don't know. I don't understand why Joker would be Black Mask for like the money or for like hiring people, but I think he could hire people anyway. If he had, how much is it? Like $10 million for the Batman, or 50 million or something like that.
I think the idea is he steals all of Sionis's resources.
I think so, yeah. But the question is why? Why
Kill Batman.
To get to Batman?
To kill him.
Oh, to kill Batman?
Because Batman is in his way.
Oh, okay. Well, then why didn't he kill him in the bank scene then?
He shot him and he thought he had killed him.
No, he didn't. He just stood down for a little bit. He didn't get shot. It just pretty much...
You know how you remember when he shoots him and he kind of staggers back a bit and he just kind of runs, and Joker just kind of runs off?
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't like... That's the problem with that scene.
And also there's a fight scene after that. He expects his goons to kill him.
Yeah, but they don't do that. They don't shoot at him multiple times just to make sure he's dead. They just shoot him once and then he leaves. So even if you didn't or wanted him dead, he's doing a very poor job. And then later on, we know that his intent...
After the cutscene where you figure out that Joker is Black Mask, there's the whole moment where you have to fight all of his thugs, and I guess the idea is like those are the thugs trying to kill him.
I know those are the thugs trying to kill him, but why didn't Joker, or just in the bank scene, why didn't he just kill him right then and there? And then it's even weirder because Joker is suddenly surprised that Batman isn't dead at the bank scene and sends the thugs afterwards to go and get him. So why not just kill Joker when he was like, or why not just kill Batman when Joker was right there?
Good point, actually.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not here to like super hate on the game. I don't think it's like the worst game ever, but I do think that there are a lot of story issues, as I've pointed out. There are more issues, especially when we get to like certain characters teleporting. For instance, Gordan, we see, do you remember that whole ordeal where Batman goes to the GCPD, right?
Not very specific. No offense.
Okay. It's basically where Batman has to sneak in and he has to get to the database of GCPD and then get back out. This is what leads to like the police to go after him, basically. So the problem here is that the first time that we actually see Gordan, he's in his office talking to Barbara. But by the time that we see him in when he gets to the roof, we see him again on the roof for some reason that he was heading up to the elevator. This doesn't make sense because, one, why does Gordan need to go to the elevator? And two, there's a riot going on downstairs. Why isn't it Gordan going after the riot?
Interesting. Can you send the clip?
Sure. Oh, no! It's even worse than I thought. Okay.
Oh god. What's wrong?
Okay, I thought the problem was that Gordan came up with the elevator and then got out. But that's not it, apparently. I checked it again. It's Gordan coming into the elevator. So how did Gordan get to to his office, to the rooftop, if there's a riot going on downstairs? And why does he even need to go onto the roof and coming in onto the elevator?
Hold on. Oh my god. It has to be a joke or something like that.
Yeah, I know. I told you I didn't come into here like trying to find issues.
First he's in the prison like during the riot, and then like the next couple seconds later he's in the where Barbara is.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, that's horrible. Okay, what's your next point?
My next point is actually comes down to Batman as a character. I have an issue with his brutality. Not because I don't like him being brutal. Personally, I love brutal Batman. I think the more brutal, not into like killing, but brutal Batman I think is realistic enough to show that Batman has to be a bit edgier to and strike fear into villains' hearts. That makes sense to me. The problem is that his brutality only comes in useful when he wants it to. For instance, he has a chance for a lady that he knows. It's one of the Cobbleplot's assistants, and he has the perfect chance to be in any way brutal to her, as maybe like at least a few jabs. But he doesn't do that. He politely puts her in jail. But by far the most.
Oh well. That being overly brutal to her would just be unnecessary in that situation. When if he can put her away efficiently, then that's fine. I wouldn't say that's a problem.
You're right.
He's just being efficient about it. He's not being brutal for the sake of being brutal.
Right. It'd be
realistic if he's brutal. He has to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But the issue is when we get to the money heist. Back into the heist again. The issue is that Batman has two perfectly good times to take out the people around him, and he refuses not to, basically. So there's actually, back to fighting more issues with the bank scene. Essentially, Batman has two times to use a smoke pellet and then beat them up. He has one where he comes right through the ground and throws a smoke bomb, and he should be able to take out everybody else. He should be able to see him with his detective vision and deduce, okay, if I throw a smoke bomb in, I can take them all out, right? And then there's the second time where Joker takes his gun off of the hostage, and there's a couple of seconds where he's completely free. He could have used the smoke bomb then and then be easily able to disarm everybody around him. And you might say, whoa, he might shoot anybody, or they might get to him in time. And you're right. But here's the issue. The issue is that when at the link that I just sent you, when they're facing off against Loeb, he uses a smoke pellet when guns are trained on him. And he's able to save Gordan in time and take out the rest of the Loeb's men. So there are perfectly good times where Batman has used smoke pellet and it has proved effective, but for some reason he just forgets to use it in the bank scene.
That's a good point. Clip?
Sure. It should be a little bit after the clip that I send you. Or do you want me to send you the bank scene?
Yeah, just send the whole bank scene. Oh, the problem I'm noticing with your complaint, first of all, is that Black Mask or Joker, whichever term you want to use, has a gun to the woman. So if he drops a smoke bomb and tries to kill those guys, that woman's dead.
Yeah, you're right. But there is later on, he completely drops his guard and doesn't hold like here, let me see if I can. Yeah, see, especially when he reveals that he's the Joker, he has multiple times where he can just use his smoke pellet and be able to take her down, especially right before he grabs her.
Hold on. I'm starting to see what you mean.
What?
I said I'm starting to see what you mean.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, there's that. Then we have, like, certain other issues, like the police not doing anything about the phone in the crime scene. They just leave it be, even though if you just open up the phone, it would say immediately that the Joker was involved as the text is open, as shown with Batman when he investigates the fight scene. The riot happening only under a
That's a
minute.
huge issue when I think about it. Why didn't they just go pick up the phone?
I don't know. I don't know.
They're investigating a crime scene. What the hell?
They say that they want to pin it on Penguin, but if they have a phone right there, they should be able to at least
And the
mention
worst part
it.
is it's not even established that they're corrupt. Like I understand if they were like working for Cobblepot or if they're working for Joker or something, but it's never shown that they're not clean.
Yeah. So there's that.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's really strange, like going through this and then seeing all the issues. I'm like, I couldn't believe it, you know. Then there's other things like the riot happening under a minute. Literally, if Batman like goes away for like less than a minute and then he comes back and it's complete anarchy, which I find mostly to be kind of funny. Another funny one is
I'd say it's a less of an issue because they're breaking out and they're beating the shit out of guards and whatnot. And
yeah, but there's already like fire and like toilet paper and stuff everywhere. So
okay, well, if it's escalated to that point, then it's kind of an issue. But I'd say that's
Dude,
that's
dude.
lower on the list.
Dude, they have cops like pinned to the wall.
Wait. I'd forgotten about that actually. Did they?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Yeah. So
That's the case, man. That's terrible.
yeah. So we have that.
Because I just thought it was just like a case of like, oh, they're out of their cells and they're running through the halls. But if the cops are already there and they're pinned against the wall, like, how did they get there so quickly?
Yeah. So there's that. There's the fact that Gordan getting passed out by a simple push. I saw with the Loeb scene. How did Hatter and Copperhead and Deathstroke know Batman's location? Why did Copperhead poison one of Joker's men? How did Bane know where Batman is when... hold on.
So, what's your next point?
Cool. So, passed out by a push. How Jack Hatter know the... okay, yeah. I was mentioning why Bane... How does Bane know Batman personally? In fact, when we see Bane... Like, when Bane puts his forearm against Batman's head, he says, in your death, I will find peace. Which is an odd line to me. This isn't like a super big criticism, but I'm wondering why Bane has such a thing against Batman. I get it, he can research him and, like, understand, but I don't understand.
Yeah, what's his grudge against him? That's actually a problem because it makes sense like a Nightfall, for example, because like he's like a Nightfall. I'm not sure if you read it, but in Nightfall there's a whole scene early on when you learn about his backstory. He has like a dream about him, and Batman is like to him is like a personification of Bane's fear. And in order to overcome his fear, he has to kill Batman.
Yeah, so I would like that explanation to be in the story, but again, that isn't known. Bane pretty much comes out of nowhere, and he seems to have a huge issue with Batman, which is supposed to be a character that's a myth, mind you. So
yeah, if it were up to me, Bane would have been the main villain of Arkham Origins, and we never would have seen Joker.
yeah, Bane is a very good villain. I wish that a lot more people used him well. You know, unlike the Christopher Nolan. Ha! Yes, Batman. You know, better than that.
Yeah, but yeah. Um, okay, but yeah, I agree. That is kind of weird that he has such a significant grudge against Batman when there's no conflict between them that's really established.
Yeah. So and then
And
we
and the
also
problem also is that there's no like deal. Is there's no like DLC like where you see Bane, right?
nope, no DLC
Yeah,
like
but
that.
yeah, because that would at least been something, but that's it. Okay, that's actually a kind of a problem.
Yeah. And then we also run into the issue of, in the beginning of the game, we have the drone that contains all of Black Mask's info. Is for some reason, Black Mask thought it was a good idea, or Joker or whatever, thought it was a good idea to carry the drone into the prison with him, where there's a riot going on, and then have
Yeah,
all that drone contain the information of all the assassins that Black Mask also has. Wow.
just on a larger note, I've always found the fact that that drone has all the information that Batman needs very contrived.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't understand that either. Then we have like a
That
little
that is a pretty major contrivance in my opinion.
yeah, it like when I came across it, it doesn't make sense because at first I thought, oh, it's from Penguin, but and then I realized, no, Black Mask bought it from Penguin and then had all that information on there, and I was like, wait a second, what?
It kind of makes Joker look kind of incompetent if you think about it. Like, why would you put all this incriminating information on one drive that Batman could very easily find and like pick apart? That's that's like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
And not have basic common sense.
I don't know. Apparently, oh, speaking of which, Bane being smart, let's talk about that cave scene of where Bane, quote-unquote, tries to kill Alfred. So his idea, essentially, is to have Alfred die long enough, or to die slowly enough that Batman can get to him and say his last few words and then die. Now, the problem is that Alfred has no damages to his no gunshot wounds, right? Because if
Well, Bane's significantly stronger than him, and all he probably did was like force him to the ground and stop his heart.
yeah, and then completely decimated him under rubble, which just so happens to leave him fine. And
His skull should have been crushed by those rocks.
yeah, and it's also convenient that Bane also forgot the fact that Batman has defibrillators on his shock gloves, which he fought him with before. But I guess he forgot about that part, and that's how, Alfred, which, by the way, also happens to be the fact that he saves Alfred, but also is able to kill Bane and bring him back due to the shock gloves, all because the fact that Executioner fell on a chandelier instead of actually falling straight to the ground, or else they would have been broken and Batman couldn't use them.
When we saw Joker kick him out of the building, or kick him or shoot him, I can't remember now. Like shove him out of the window. We saw him fall all the way down, all the way down to the ground.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that's that big of an issue because he just kind of crashed to the ceiling.
no, he goes he gets impaled by the chandelier.
Does he? I remember him just kind of bumping against the ground.
Let me see if I can show it to you.
Okay. But if he's impaled on the chandelier, that might be an issue.
Right there. It picks up exactly. It seems that he's impaled by the chandelier. It's a bit hard to tell because the game doesn't want to show the gore. But he's basically impaled by it. All because he fell in that exact same spot.
Yeah, he falls right on the chandelier. That's pretty convenient.
Yep. And that leads, like I said,
it would have been way better if we just saw him fall all the way to the floor and just kind of picked him up from the body and the ground. I don't know why they just did that. They did just that.
Yeah, and they could have here's a good example of this, right? If it actually got damaged, like the shock gloves got damaged on the way to the ground, you can have Batman, because he's smart, right? He can be able to rebuild it or some way, or fix it, That would be a good way to show not only Batman's intelligence, but it'd be a way to escape the convenience that is what makes the rest of the certain key elements happen, all because of that convenience,
Yeah.
So there's that. Oh, and I did want to mention before we go any further about how Alfred's death doesn't really make sense to me. Instead, Bane could be either punch him more, which would lead him to bleed more on the inside, I don't, like I said, we already talked about this, but the rebel doesn't make much sense. I don't
Oh, yeah,
understand.
before you go any further, him punching and making him bleed, that would contradict what he wants to do. He doesn't want to actually kill. Well, he wants to kill him, but he wants Batman to say his goodbyes as Alfred dies. So if he hits him, then he's gonna die. He might die before Batman gets there.
Yeah, so you're right, but
So him not punching him is something I wouldn't call a problem.
yeah, but so he gets buried under rebel then? How is that much better? Because that can instantly kill him, especially if there's enough, like,
That's a good point, actually.
what?
I'm just saying that's a good point.
Oh, okay. And then there's also the fact that during that whole ordeal when he gets invaded by the cave, somehow Bane not only figured out exactly where the Batcave is and how to get into it, but also the fact that Alfred didn't even notify Bruce when he came in. He should be able to see him on like the Wayne Manor cameras, right? As seen in the Arkham Knight DLC, the place in the manor is like a maze. You know, it's really hard to find not only where the Batcave is because it's in a very specific spot, but also the fact that Alfred should have been able to at least hear him and notified Bruce, but that didn't happen. I guess he was just away from the computer taking a nap, even though at all other points of the story and before then he's shown to be on the computer constantly, but oh well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that. There's also the fact that the panel explodes and also remains basically spotless, even though it sends a man forcibly through a concrete wall. But, so, yeah, those are, like, the main ones. There's, like, a couple other, like, tiny ones, but I don't feel like mentioning those. But there you go. Those are my points. So, yeah, how do you feel after all that?
I can see it in a lot of that. This game, I still really like it, but I should probably replay it just to see for myself. But this is not looking great. I'm given taking all your points into consideration. I'm going to give it like a 4 or a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, that was like that's right around my thing as well. We haven't even gotten to what was the point of the bomb that that Joker put, even though he had like a bigger bomb in the area. I don't see why he had to blow up that one room. So
Yeah,
there's
I don't. Before we go any further, I think it's the second worst Arkham game because I wouldn't say it's worse than City, because City's entire premise is like broken as fuck. But I'd say Origins is slightly above. Like so, City is like a 4 out of 10. That means Origins like a 5.
there you go. The ding perfectly.
Sorry.
No, that was perfect. It solidified your score. So yeah. So how do you say that your mind has like changed in any way?
Yeah. And I wouldn't say it affects my enjoyment. Any of those things that still affect my enjoyment, but I recognize that this is not very well written.
Cool.
Because there's a lot of things that just don't really work when you think about them.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm glad I got to point out. Like I said, I played this game a lot as I was a kid, and kind of going over it with like a fine tooth and nail. Did I like start to notice a lot of these issues? But so yeah, that's my saying about it. I'm trying to work on like a analysis on it to show like all the problems, and that's going pretty well. Like in the same vein as like Batnik and SK, you know.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, I gotta get back to school. I'm technically not supposed to be doing this, okay? But
Right.
but they can't stop me. But see you, man. This was really great. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hope you learned something.
Yeah.
Hope I learned something. Bye.
All right. Say.
Okay. Post debate thoughts. Oh my god, my ears. I did really well. It essentially just came down to me just going over and over and saying, okay, so this is what I have laid out. There's this, there's this, there's this, there's this. And I didn't even touch upon like the smaller things. There's other smaller things as well with like the Brandon call that he makes to the GCPD. I don't know. But that was really great. That went like way better than I expected. That was really nice. He was just like observe. I like the fact that he wasn't like super protective. You know, he wasn't like, oh, you can't make fun of that. You know, you can't. No, he opened up to the fact, okay, that's a problem. He argued about the points that he thought were like more realistic, but over time I was basically able to win him over. But yeah, I think I did really good. I had a lot of fun with that debate. I haven't had a good long debate in a while. It was basically just me going over all the hard work that I did into like finding and like going over Arkham Origins and just showing that, you know, just showing all that progress, which is really great. So yeah, I wanted to do an Arkham related debate, but I haven't gotten to it before, but now I did. So now I can say I had a Arkham debate, which is really cool. So I really enjoy that. Subscribe if you want to cry. There you go. I had a lot of fun with this. I can't wait to do another one. See ya. Peace, my guy.